This is I have the wrong background. This is I feel like I'm like effing up these starts lately. Okay, here we go. This is the Between Ghosts of El Paso, part 14. Now, we ended on a cliffhanger in the middle of a night phase last time. So we're going to just pick up right with that so we can kind of just dive right in. We're just about done with this night phase. But we were doing the unseen, which unseen was it? It was the Texas Ranger. So, Mads, John Wesley Hardin arrives, but not alone. He has 3 companions, killers one and all. It is just as Armstrong's informants told him it would be. How does Armstrong manage to only bring in Hardin alive?
As Hardin approaches with his posse, I guess, um, Armstrong will step out from the bush. Actually, casually, amazingly enough, even though like they're all killers, they're all, seasoned at this. But then Armstrong will present a document and then murmur to the group. And then all of a sudden, Hardin turns on his companions and then starts to blow their heads off, like in a surprise move of betrayal. And then he turns to Armstrong as if to finish him off. But then Armstrong already has his guns drawn and fires to give warning shots to Hardin. You need to get down, son, and you need to surrender. And he brings in his core, his brain. You're on mute.
Pamela, Del Sol slash Mr. Perdition slash who knows what this entity is, has intimated to you that there is a grand grift going on, and it involves this entity down in the mine, or involves the mine in some way, and has basically asked you for like your decision. Like, are you going to join him? Are you going to, what are you going to do here? What do you do?
Sorry, my cat is yowling behind me. Um, in answer, I think Pamela is going to reach into her pocket because in this time period, yes, dresses have pockets. She's going to reach into her pocket and she's going to unfold a document and points to it and says, "This is an interesting little deed I have here."
Is this the deed from your personal quarters that we don't know what it is?
Exactly.
Interesting. Del Sol looks at it, and a smile starts to spread across his face. And he looks up at you and says, "So this is what you've been doing here this whole time?"
One of the things.
And he just laughs. Maybe you both just laugh and we leave it at that. Meanwhile, the rest of you are the down the hill with Jonathan. You hear explosion. Mads and I decided off mic that Pamela was going to blow the mine. Boom. Debris raining down. People in the mine screaming and hollering, or at least, like just from the chaos. Maybe they're not hurt or anything, but there's just chaos breaking out. And Jonathan, he just has like a crestfallen look on his face as ash and dirt rain down on him. And much like the ash floating in the air, he just Thanos snap dissolves away, blows away, and the blue boy is resolved, and the night phase is over. Let's go to the dawn. All right, rewards. We do have rewards here to collect since you have resolved the blue boy. I'll drop these into the chat, but I'll read them aloud for people watching the video. A porcelain figurine of the blue boy, add it to your personal quarters. A life-size reproduction of the blue boy, add it to your personal quarters, and then take the condition, the blue boy. You can only clear the condition by getting rid of the painting. You can clear most beloved only if the blue boy was real. You cross off the gilded door from your sheet and tell the other hunters it is available to be chosen again. Gainsborough can be chosen as a reward. That's the dog. Or there's a memento from the investigation. There's two of those. Who wants what?
I'm so torn. I would like to clear most beloved. But Gainsborough. I think I should probably take the you can clear most beloved though.
I think you should take that.
That's probably the best idea.
Very good. The Gilded Door is now available for the rest of you to choose. So you all got a little bump on your Janus mask, and Sister Mary got a little bump in condition capacity. So that could be helpful.
So she can take the Gilded Door again.
No, it's crossed off of that one's sheet. Yeah, only the three of you can.
Oh.
But
I see. It's the condition away. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Who wants what else?
I'm so tempted to take the life-size reproduction of the blue boy, but I feel like that might not be a good idea.
Yeah, you'll be pretty your conditions will be a little out of control at that point, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did we establish what color Gainsborough is?
I just said he was a Russian wolf hound. I didn't say what color he was. I kind of imagined him as a sort of white, but that doesn't have to be. Yeah.
I think I'd like Gainsborough.
Okay. So horse has a friend.
Oh my gosh.
Dog.
Dog and horse.
I would like a memento from the investigation. And if Sister Mary could let me know what it is, that would be great.
I will also take a memento, and Slade can let me know what it is.
I think, Travis, you have the knife that Mrs. Stackpole almost got Sister Mary with.
Pamela, you get the nursery rhyme book that has all of the blue boy references in it.
The self-insertion nursery rhyme.
Yeah.
Good. All right, I love it. Let's keep going with the phase here. Dawn questions. All right, Travis. Okay, so everybody, did you answer a capital Q question? Going back to last week, yes, you did. Did you answer a question? Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Did you resolve a threat? Yes, you did. Echoes in the Night. Travis, I know you got one last time.
I did.
Yeah, so congratulations. You can mark that. Sister Mary, did you get one?
I don't remember.
Okay. Slade, did you get one?
I don't think so.
Okay. And Pamela Pickett, you kind of did, Pamela.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to reference the whole like document showing.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah. Well, I even thought the like kind of just the way you described their heads kind of like blowing up.
Yeah.
Like kind of shooting their heads. I thought was kind of appropriate. Very good. Let's keep going. Okay. Travis, did you stick up for the little guy?
You saved the deputy at the risk.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. You
That
were
was
kind of
the
sticking up for
thing
him
I was
there.
remembering. I was going to argue for something on that one.
He would
I think
argue he's a man,
yeah.
not a little guy, but that's okay.
I mean, it was Deputy Wainwright, so
Yeah, you could totally take that one. Did you test to see if your reputation is spreading without naming yourself?
I don't think so.
That one's a little harder now because you're the marshal. Like going
Exactly.
through-
Yeah. Several of
Sister-
them are now that the marshal's out of play as
yeah,
well.
yeah, it really is. Sister Mary, did you try to convince someone to do the right thing?
I don't remember who I interacted with last week, and I think it was just Mrs. Stackpole.
I think she was too far gone to be
Yeah,
convinced of doing the right thing.
there was no convincing
There was no
anybody
convincing
there.
her there. Yeah.
I think
Did you
it was
speak?
Mrs. Stackpole and Jonathan are the only people I really talked to, and I don't think it really.
Yeah, those two were not really susceptible to it. Did you speak on matters of theology with anybody who would listen?
Not in any kind of standout way that I can think of.
Slade,
Recall.
did you respectfully help a dying mortal cross over to the spirit world?
I did not.
Did you take time to puzzle over the human condition?
He did try and couldn't quite understand why Travis would risk himself by not shooting the deputy or letting
Oh, yeah.
Slade kill the deputy.
Yeah, I like that. Pamela, did you help the downtrodden to make yourself feel better?
Don't think so. I don't count Jonathan as downtrodden in any way.
Did you blame someone else for your mistake or crime? I think with Del Sol, that conversation with Del Sol probably hits that, but if you have another idea.
No, I think that was the only one that I can
Yeah.
think of.
Very good. And let's keep going with the dawn phase. Okay, that rotten kid. Well, we don't need to do that one anymore. And do we have any open Janus mask right now?
Yes,
do.
the Mask of the Idyll.
Oh, that's right.
Some of
Yeah,
us,
I think
maybe.
everybody has to do that, right?
Okay, yeah.
So if you got your Mask of the Idyll, go ahead and do it.
What was the
Yeah.
prompt for that again?
It is each hunter narrates a flashback to a time when they enjoyed leisure in a picturesque place. Pretty simple.
I can go. We see Sister Mary, and she is sitting on the step of Dr. Torres's house, this new place that she lives in El Paso. She is pious at the moment, and thus she is seeing the beauty in the world. She's looking at her new town, El Paso, and seeing these. Maybe some of the buildings are a bit rickety, but they're clearly well loved and built with love. The people walking down the street, they have so much potential for goodness and, soul saving, which is always a lot of fun. This is the, I don't know, third night she's been there. The sun is setting. It's a beautiful orange sky with some pinks and purples, and it's lighting up the streets of El Paso in just a really picturesque way. It's nothing like London, nothing at all like London. And she feels a bit of warmth in her soul and the feeling that she is in the right place.
I think this is a younger Pamela. This is before she took to the stage and nondescript but very beautiful picturesque park, possibly Central Park, who knows. And she remembers being out with her family, and then she was wandering around admiring all the new landscaping that they had put in, just enjoying the day. It was like a very sunny and warm day where it felt like things were on the up and up, outside of any fakery or any societal pressures or anything like that. And then she remembers going through this place and looking at the different natural things that were set out. And beyond the bushes and the trees, she remembers seeing someone in a suit, a top hat. Couldn't see their face, but she could sense that he was watching them. And then for some reason, she could see on the back of his hand where he took off his glove, he was twirling one of the blossoms that had been newly put in, and on the back of his hand was what looked like a tattoo. She couldn't make out what the tattoo was, but she knew this individual was watching them, and he had a strange aspect to his face. She turned around a little bit, turned back, and the individual was gone.
Thank you.
Mine's real quick. I think we see Travis as a young boy on a little wooden, one of those things, I don't even know what you call them, where you dock a boat, but it actually floats out in the middle of a river. And he's lying there on his back. It's a sunny, beautiful day. He has a fishing rod next to him, but he's not really paying a lot of attention to it. He's just relaxing. And as the sun rises, Travis just becomes bathed in this golden light completely.
I think this is the first full day that Slade spent as Slade after an afternoon spent on the ranch staring at the horses, and then a night spent wandering around El Paso. He found himself on the bank of the Rio Grande. Sorry, Grande? Grande?
They're all correct. It
Okay.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
And it was totally different to how he remembered seeing water, and it all felt so much more vivid, the colors, the sounds, the smell, that he had never before appreciated. And he found himself just sitting there throughout the whole night till the sun rose, and he stood up and thought that he is here and he will be here.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Are there any other Janus masks? Is it just the Mask of the Idyll?
I have a Mask of the Past.
Oh, go ahead and give us that too.
So it is a flashback to when Slade escorted an evil person to the spirit world, and how did they show them disdain. And this is a many years in the past, a petty emperor who had delusions of grandeur and the empathy that an emperor usually has. He spent decades pillaging and destroying cultures nearby. And when he finally died after weeks of illness, Slade stood and watched. And as the life slipped away from this man, and he saw Slade standing there, refusing to budge, staring with dead eyes, until the man was all but insane with his own torturous being trapped in his former shell. And then Slade took him.
Very good. That will conclude the night phase. Let's take a slightly longer break than we normally would. Let's take 10 minutes so I can get that filthy rival ready to go. And also we'll do a little bit of recapping for the characters when we get back, since we didn't do that because of the cliffhanger. So yeah, I'll see you in 10. Okay, let's do a little bit of recap just to sort of orient ourselves into where we're at before we begin this sort of side threat. Well, it's a new threat, but it's a playbook threat. Taking a look at conditions, Travis has Eyes of Gold. That will probably be super relevant coming up. Sister Mary has Pious and Unnerved. I think enough time will have passed between Blue Boy and now Sister Mary that you can go ahead and clear Unnerved. And Slade, you have Death Touch and Busted Arm. You can also clear Busted Arm. And Pamela, you can clear Unnerved as well. So everyone's kind of getting a fresh start here. What else? This is the last threat. This is the absolute last threat before we get to Isabella and Edward. That filthy rival. So 2 weeks have passed since the events at the tin mine. And I'm directing this to Travis now. Travis, a few days ago, you woke up in a cold sweat after having a terrible dream. In the dream, you saw the lady in gold and a jeering facsimile of yourself. The two of them were in a wanton embrace. They mocked you as they made love. And then your copy, calling himself Greased Lightning, challenged you to a duel. He raised his pistol, crackling with blue energy, and yelled, "Draw." And you woke up before you could see which of you was faster. And now to all of the hunters. There is sad news. Deputy Wainwright was murdered last night. Shot in cold blood while he slept. His body is currently being held at Doc Albers's makeshift mortuary. Jane Taylor, a tanner, claims she saw Travis dressed all in black, leaving the scene of the crime. Earl Cunningham at the Salty Spittoon says he saw someone who looked just like Travis, dressed in black leather and loudly calling himself Grease Lightning, drinking whiskey like there was no tomorrow. Sister Mary, you had taken on kind of a mentor role with Travis in the recent months. And something that we are learning for the first time is that Travis has had some bad sleepwalking spells since moving to El Paso. Has anyone ever gotten hurt because of these sleepwalking spells? And if so, what happened?
I think there have been situations where Travis has found himself in his dreams to have, a gunfight going on, walking out of his house into the street. Nobody there. There's nobody's gunfighting. But I think there's been situations where bullets have gone through windows or into doors. Thankfully, nobody's been killed, but there have been injuries. And I think a lot of the town is a little bit wary of the new marshal.
A perhaps slight counterpoint theory here. Pamela, you've heard stories of ghostly possession. Is there a detail in the stories about Grease Lightning that makes you think a ghost might be involved? If so, what are they?
Not only because of the all black attire, it doesn't seem like something that Travis would have completely handy in his own closet. And also, there is a detail that has only been whispered about, but nobody really mentions unless asked pointedly, and that is the look of Travis's eyes. So, whatever color Travis's eyes are normally, when they have seen him in this all black attire, then his eyes are bloodshot red and dark.
Oh, I thought you were going to say gold. Interesting. Very good. Whoever they are, you know this to be true. Grease Lightning is the fastest gun that ever lived. No one is stronger and no one is meaner. To take them in a fair fight is an impossibility. The only way to stop Grease Lightning is to learn his weakness, if he even has one, and lay a trap. You have a single question here. It's a complexity 4. What is Grease Lightning's weakness, or how can he otherwise be stopped? It allows you to resolve the threat by designing an elaborate trap for grease lightning and then banishing them from the land of the living. There's also a special rule in this particular threat. If you ever have to face grease lightning, you're always at disadvantage. Additionally, Travis can never appear in the same scene as grease lightning unless you are resolving the threat. Now, it's daytime, but the sky is stormy and black. There are blue flashes of lightning in the sky, but no thunder can be heard, curiously enough. You get a complexity 4, not a hard mystery, but it is on a bit of a timer. Let's go around the table and find out what everyone's interested in doing. Travis, you're being accused of murdering Deputy Wainwright. Perhaps you perhaps it was a sleepwalking incident. Perhaps you're possessed by a ghost. Perhaps there is another entity called Grease Lightning. Who knows? That's for you to figure out. You got to figure out Grease Lightning's weakness. Let's start with Sister Mary. What are you going to do today?
I'm going to go interrogate Travis.
Oh, very good. Interesting indeed. Information gained will just be from whatever you might notice in the scene, essentially. Slade, if you want some leads, you've got Jane Taylor, the tanner, saw Grease Lightning. Earl Cunningham at the Salty Spittoon did as well. And Doc Albers has Deputy Wainwright's body in the mortuary. So.
I think the mortuary is where he'll head. Maybe he can have a chat with Deputy Wainwright.
Indeed. Pamela, what are you going to do today?
Who was the one at the spittoon that saw
Earl
Grease?
Cunningham says he saw someone who looked just like Travis, dressed in black leather, going around calling himself Grease Lightning and drinking whiskey like crazy.
And where is the Earl Cunningham located?
That's at the Salty Spittoon. Yeah.
Okay, so I think Pamela's going to go.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. To be clear, he's the bartender at the Salty Spittoon.
Okay, all right. I think that Tarnish McCready's going to go take a visit to Earl Cunningham and then interrogate him.
Sounds good. Travis, people are saying all kinds of weird stuff about you, about the situation. What are you going to do?
Well, I'll sit down with Sister Mary. I think it makes a lot of sense.
We'll have that scene first.
I trust the rest of the Vigilance Committee to understand that it's not me.
Guess we'll see. Sister Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Frame up the scene, Sister Mary, since you requested it. What's going on here?
It's early-ish in the morning, and Travis, you get a knock on the door. Travis, I know you're in there. You always leave your boots outside here full of mud.
I'm here, Sister Mary. Come on in.
Oh. I'll go in, take a seat. I'm just kind of acting like this is my home too. You heard about Deputy Wainwright, right?
I did.
And you heard people are saying that you did it.
I did. You know that ain't true, right?
I need you to swear it on this Bible. And she's gonna pull out a Bible. I need you to swear it.
I swear I did not kill Deputy Wainwright.
I'd like for you to go ahead and make the information move now. With
me?
No, Sister Mary. With sensitivity.
With sensitivity, hey. Let's see if there's something in my personal quarters that not personal quarters. Whatever the place is, personal quarters that has help, but there's not going to be any help. Oh, that is a 14.
Oh, very good. Since there's no more mastermind clues to collect, I'll give you 2 clues. The first is Travis touching the Bible shocks Travis briefly. Like he had some static built up. There's that little moment. The second clue I'll give you at the end of the scene. Let's go ahead and keep it going.
You should speak to Mr. Slade, Sister Mary. He saw me when the deputy came for me a few nights ago now. He knows I didn't want to kill the man.
I know you well enough to know you wouldn't kill somebody in cold blood unless you absolutely had to. But you have been having some weird trouble sleeping.
We all been having that.
Yes, but most of us aren't shooting up the place when we do it.
Well, why do you propose we do? Should I lock myself in one of the cells here overnight? Would that satisfy you?
Might be for your safety too, not just the town. What if there's something out there impersonating you? Some kind of ghost? A new kind of ghost we don't know about? I mean, if it's targeting you, you gotta be safe.
If that's the case, I'd rather face it.
Well, I'm gonna say that I'm not gonna be leaving your side, or if I have to go, then somebody else in the vigilance committee is gonna be near you. You're not gonna be left alone. I'm sure you can understand that.
I appreciate that, Sister Mary. I really do.
A detail, Sister Mary, your second clue. Travis, unbeknownst to him, seemingly, behaving strange around water. There was a tin cup of water on the table that Travis kept trying to reach for, but his hand kept moving away from it every time he got close. And when Travis escorted you out of the office, you walked through a puddle, but Travis, never known for such dainty behavior, went around the puddle instead of walking into it. This is your clue.
I'm gonna make no comment about that to Travis.
Yeah. Moving on. Pamela Pickett. You're gonna go talk to Earl, right? As Tarnish. Yeah, good. Let's see if we have we do have a Salty Spittoon location here. This is the roughest bar in town. It's barely in town. It's the roughest figuratively and literally. The signature devil water here once made a man go blind. Let's paint the scene. What obvious signs of both recent and long past violence mark the walls, tables, chairs, and every other surface of this place?
There's actually still a knife embedded in one of the wooden walls from the knife fight last night.
The corner of the bar has what looks a lot like a bite mark.
I think the bar itself has a crack down the center, and one side is a little sloped now.
I think the furniture has divots and cracks and gouges from any kind of violence that has been wrought either by glass or by bullets or by fists or heads pummeling into them. So, yeah, pretty hardy stuff.
I love it. So you're in the Salty Spittoon. You see Earl Cunningham. He's a skinny man with a tiny head, but a very large Adam's apple. He wears a black apron and a bright red bolo tie. And he seems to be very like he knows how to navigate the violence of this place. Like, I think when you come in, there are two people who are already like at each other's throats, two men who are like trading blows. And as they're like pushing and like slamming and stuff, Earl just kind of like gracefully like weaves in and out of the fight and approaches you and says, "Well, Miss Pickett, I don't often see you come to this part of town. How can I help you wet your whistle today?"
Actually, I was going in the guise of tarnish. So,
Oh, that's right.
mean,
Oh, sorry. Back up.
no problem. Yep.
Mr. McCready.
How you doing? Earl? Is that your name?
Yes, it is, sir. Yes, it is. And how are things going at the gambling wagon? Are you and Miss Pickett doing good business out there on Santa Fe Street?
Yeah, pulling the right amount of good coin. I mean, people's is busy. People want to do a little bit of gambling before they go on to their thing. Had a question or two for you if you had some time.
Well, certainly. And I think we just see like a guy like get slung like across a table and crash behind him. He's like, "Well, this table's clear right here," and he sits down. Ah, can I get you something to drink, Mr. McCready?
Yeah, if it's too much trouble, preferably not the brew that I hear causes a little bit of sight problems.
And here's what you'll notice for the first time, that his right eye is kind of milky. And he says, "Oh, those are just rumors." And he gets up and goes around the bar. The fight calms down. I think it ends at your feet, with one man clearly having gotten the worst of it and the other standing there. "Pardon me, sir." And he like marches off out of the bar, leaving the one guy beaten to a pulp. And we'll cut over to Slade. Doc Albers has a makeshift mortuary in his basement because it's cool enough down there to store bodies for a few days. As you go down into this makeshift mortuary, how do you know the place is haunted? This is for everyone, actually.
I think Slade just sees the ghosts standing along all the walls, just watching impassively.
As he steps in, his foot almost slips on a layer of kind of grimy frost on the lintel.
The light in this room is distorted, sort of like it's going through panes of glass almost, but it's actually just going through the ghosts.
If there's any reflective surfaces, not even have to be mirrors, but anything reflective, you're going to see eyes or faces of the spirits that still linger here.
Doc Albers is a physician, pharmacist, and part-time mortuary worker. He has round wire spectacles, graying hair, wears a brown suit with black tie, and he's known to have many enthusiasms, mostly related to medicine, but also unknown mysteries of the mind, if you get him talking. He says, "Well, Mr. Slade, how are things going with the Vigilance Committee these days?"
Slade
"Hopefully
will
better than
be-
they are at the marshal's office." And he, as he's like showing you the body of Deputy Wainwright.
I think Slade will have to tear his attention away from looking at all the ghosts, seeing if he can find Wainwright, and then he'll just look at the man blankly and say, "What was the fatal wound?"
He says, "Oh, well, pretty straightforward." And he kind of pulls the cloth back, and there's just nothing where Deputy Wainwright's right eye used to be, just a bloody black hole all the way through the skull. He says, whoever did it was either had point blank access to poor Dudley, or he is a very, very good shot.
And the deputy was asleep when it occurred?
Yes, yes, we took the body out of his little place above the Rio Grande Saloon. Well, as you can see by the expression on his face here, the whole situation seems to have been quite a shock to him.
Again, Slade will just look at the man and then back to Wainwright. And did you notice anything noteworthy about the bedroom when you removed the body?
Well, I know what people are saying about who did it. I've heard that it was the marshal who did it. Now, I can't believe that Travis would do such a thing like that. But
He would not.
well, Mr. Slade, have you ever heard of mesmerism?
No.
Hypnosis? They say a trained mesmerist can make a subject do almost anything. There's a case of a one Dr. Klauser out of Berlin and London. He could make people do all sorts of ghoulish and incredible things just through the power of suggestion.
Do you know anyone trained in that art?
Well, I suppose not here in El Paso. Go ahead and make your information move at this point. Presence is fine. Or sensitivity, maybe, because you're having to deal with this ghostly place while you do the questioning.
That'd be 9.
9. Let me take a look at the clues. He says, no, I don't know. Well, that's not entirely correct, I suppose. And he says, I was actually given a gift recently, if you can believe it. A manual of sorts on how to hypnotize a subject, written by the aforementioned Dr. Lawrence Klauser. And he kind of says, I could go get it for you, of course.
Please, I would appreciate the opportunity to read it.
He says, yes. And he goes and gets it, and he says, here, it was delivered. Well, it's been a few weeks now, actually. But have you had a chance to meet Mrs. Reynolds, Isabella Reynolds?
I have.
She gifted me this book. She's a very thoughtful woman, that Miss Reynolds. She knows a lot about my particular enthusiasms. I do have such a fascination with the human mind. Truth be told, she's trying to get me to sell my land. And I think she's just trying to butter me up. I have no intention of selling, of course. I mean, the only way I'd part with this piece of land, which she seems like she needs very badly, is if she had, I don't know, great big fistfuls of gold or something.
She does, and I've no doubt she will approach you with them. Do not give in, Doctor.
Indeed, indeed. Do you think someone hypnotized Travis to make him do these things?
No, but it is worth exploring all avenues.
Indeed. Well, you should take this book. I've read it back and forth. It's very stimulating.
Would you say you have read it with enough depth to perform this mesmerism yourself?
Oh, goodness, no. No. I consider myself more of a hobbyist when it comes to the mysteries of the mind. My particular specialty is medicines. And he looks at the body. And I might do a little bit of off the record forensic work on the bodies too, but that's just between you and me.
Anything that you discover in your off the record work would be of assistance to the Vigilance Committee.
Indeed. Shall I leave you here to have no, to say your last words, your parting words for poor Dudley?
Yes.
He says, good. I'll be upstairs. He goes up to the pharmacy.
Slade
Your
will-
clue, though, is the mesmerism manual. Well, at this point,
Yeah,
I think I
Slade-
want to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Slade.
No, go ahead, please.
I was just going to cut over to the next scene. I think at this point, we check in with Travis and Sister Mary and find out how you want to proceed here with the investigation. Sister Mary?
Well, I suppose we could go and chat with Jane Taylor, the tanner.
What about you, Travis?
Well, if Sister Mary doesn't want me to leave her side,
Okay, Jane Taylor it is. The tannery. There are sheets of leather hung all over the place, great vats of very foul-smelling liquid. All the people who work there just have frowns all around. No one's happy. Paint the scene, everyone. How do you know this is a miserable and altogether befucked place to work?
The smell. That day in, day out, hour after hour. Oh yeah, that's gonna seep into people's pores and their nostrils and not gonna come out anytime soon.
The people aren't allowed a lot of breaks, and they're on their feet for the most of it. If you look at their feet, most of them have very poor shoes. You can see the blood seeping out from their toes and blisters and dropping things. OSHA's not here.
the newer employees are like taking desperate measures to try and avoid the smell. You see a lot of them with like pieces of rag stuffed in their nostrils and things like that, or masks around their face, but it's not enough to get the frown off their face. The smell still gets through.
There's a small break area in one of the rear corners, and it's literally just one chair.
Jane Taylor is a no-nonsense woman with a permanent agitated look on her face. She always smells funny, though you can't really smell it right now because the whole place smells bad. She marches up to the two of you before you even get through the door, and she says, well, look who it is. Two members of the vaunted Vigilance Committee, the Bible Thumper and the Murderer. Great. Welcome.
And a blessed day to you too, Jane Taylor.
Oh, take your blessed day and shove it where the sun don't shine, Sister Mary. What about
Always so
you,
colorful.
killer boy? You come here to kill people, murder them in their sleep?
I know you're trying to get a rise out of me, Miss Taylor, but it ain't gonna work.
Ho, 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 ho. Oh, Marshall Walker. Travis. You know what? Your brother was a lousy marshal, and you are somehow even worse than him. He at least didn't go around shooting people while they slept. I know what I saw, and don't try to tell me it's the fumes from the tannery playing with my head. I'm tired of that rationale that people always like to throw out on the table whenever things happen around here.
Maybe you can tell us just exactly what you did see rather than throwing around accusations and insults.
Oh, well, let me get straight to the point. I saw you dressed all in black. Ooh. Leaving the scene of the crime right after gunshots were heard and right before Dudley was found with his brains blown out on his pillow.
Jane, you saw all of this. What were you doing out that night?
Well, Sister Mary, some of us don't go to our rooms at 8 o'clock so that we can get on our knees and pray to the Lord and get in bed. Some of us actually have a life. Like, I don't know, we like to go out and we like to drink. We like to go and drown our sorrows. We like to try to forget that we live in this miserable shithole town doing miserable shithole work. I'm going to be dead by the time I'm 35. I have no doubt of it. And I have no intention whatsoever of denying myself earthly pleasures. Thank you very much.
Well, it's strange. Earl Cunningham said he saw Travis all in black that same night. And he said that he was drinking up a storm. Now, if you were out partying and Travis was out partying, strange that you didn't see him. This is not that big of a town.
Well, I did see him. I saw him when he came out of Dudley's room.
But not before that.
Well, no. If you must know, Dudley and I had scheduled a romantic encounter with one another, and I was on my way up when I saw you coming out.
Are you the one who found Dudley then?
Well, I went and got help, and then I found him along with the folks who I gathered to come with me to steal my spine.
Did you hear a gunshot?
Yes, I did.
And you just walked away?
I heard the gunshot. My heart filled with terror. I ran towards Dudley's apartment. I saw Travis coming out, looking like every bit the Stone Cold Killer and wearing his ridiculous black duster coat. And then I was terrified. I thought that Travis was going to kill me too. And so I ran and got help. And then we went together and we found Dudley's body.
Who was it you gathered for help?
People, townsfolk, drunks,
Just
I don't know.
out in the street?
Sister Mary. It was a
Jane Taylor.
It was a very, very heightened situation. It's not the kind of thing. I wasn't taking notes. I wasn't doing roll call.
That's understandable. I mean, you had a long day at work with all them fumes, and then you went drinking.
Oh, here we go. The
gonna...
fumes again. Oh, crazy Jane Taylor. She's been inhaling the tannery fumes. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
And an eye for those type of details is exactly why we have professional law enforcement in this town.
She looks at you and she's like, is that how you would characterize the nature of the law enforcement in this town? Murderer? You're very lucky that we don't get a posse together. Maybe we will.
Maybe you will.
All right. Let's not escalate this into something we don't want it to be. Jane, we're just looking for information. That's all. Just your eyewitness details are very helpful. Do you remember anything else unusual?
Make the information move with presence.
Ten.
She says, well, perhaps I did see something unusual, that is. Apart from the distressing and unusual circumstance of seeing the marshal murder someone. Well, you're going to think it's weird. You're going to think it's the tannery fumes again.
Oh, Jane.
We seen plenty of weird, Miss Taylor. You can tell us, and I assure you, we can believe a lot of things, or we'll at least take it seriously.
Well, when I was in Port Dudley's room, looking at the man I loved, and he was a man, looking at the man I loved, dead in his bed, I looked out the window. A terrible mixture of foreboding and longing in my heart. As I looked out the window in a forlorn way, I saw a bird land on the windowsill. But the bird was flying backwards. It landed backwards. And then when I went out onto the street, I noticed it then too. All the birds in the sky flying backwards. I suppose that's the kind of story that you Vigilance Committee folks get your jollies with. I just
It
think
certainly
it's
does sound like some strange Wounded Knight stuff.
Wounded Knight. I have no call or concern for ghosts, Sister Mary. I have to deal with real challenges in this world. I don't have time to
Sister
worry about
Mary.
the spectral ones.
Sister Mary, I may be remembering this wrong, but does the Bible have something to say about birds flying backwards someplace or other? I believe I read about it somewhere.
Yeah, in one of the books in Revelations, book 416 talks about birds flying backwards and the coming of the end of all things.
The only thing that's coming to an end is this conversation. Thank you very much.
Well, I suppose that's
Well, thank you, Miss
That's-
Taylor. I appreciate your time.
She just sneers and goes back and starts yelling at the people, her workers. If you hang out here much longer, you're going to have to take a condition, a fume-based condition.
I think we're gonna go. Smells bad.
Very good. Pamela, you haven't actually done your information roll yet, have you? No.
No.
Earl comes back. He sets down the 2 glasses of hooch, of moonshine, and he says, "You want to know what we call this one?"
Lay it on me.
He's like, "Well, this little brew, I like to call it." And he kind of like stops. He looks up. It's like, how about Horns of the Devil?
And may we give the devil his due. And then Tarnish will lift up
No,
the
wait.
glass.
What about the gates of hell?
Even better. Toast. And
He's
then,
like, wait. I've got it. Grizzly bear balls.
kind of like Gates of Hell better. But okay.
Gates of hell would
And
look
then-
really nice on a label on a bottle, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. We should do that up sometime.
Indeed, we should. And he clinks your glass.
Clinks.
And,
Yeah, Tarnish will do that
It's-
trick of rounding the glass around
I'm saying, do you actually drink it?
his mouth. Like I said, I mean, like, Tarnish will do that trick of rounding the glass, like looking like he's taking the full shot, but then rounding it so it goes over the shoulder on the floor, probably on the guy who's beaten to a pulp, and give him a thrill. So,
Nice.
but yeah, no, Tarnish does not drink the shot.
Earl drinks his and he's like, oh,
I
yeah,
can see balls come from. Excellent.
woo, gates of hell. Another.
Gates, balls. Sure. I wanted to come here and find out what you saw exactly when you saw Travis in the all black getup.
He's like, oh yeah. Make the information move with presence.
Mhm.
Actually, no, vitality. No, it would be vitality if you drank the booze, but it's presence because you didn't drink the booze.
Okay. No, did not drink the booze. Okay, so that is an 8.
Okay, good. Let's see. We'll come back to that. Slade, you're down there with Dudley. What do you do?
He'll be staring down at the body for a moment and just kind of speak to the room and say, Deputy Wainwright, can we talk?
And there's no movement at first. But then his right hand lifts up. And it's like trembling. And then he says, oh, gosh darn it. I can't believe he would shoot me like that. What has this world come to, Mr. Slade?
That is a question I hope to someday answer.
He looks at you.
You saw who shot you.
He looks at you with his one good eye. And he says, well, yeah, I did. It was a Sidewinder kid. Though he said he changed his name. Now he goes by Grease Lightning. He said he made a mistake, that he wasn't supposed to let me live, that he was supposed to kill me, but that he'd give me a chance. He'd let me draw on him. And I wasn't fast enough.
If you are. And I think Slade will reach out and take the man's hand and say, I do not believe Travis would do this to you. I hope there is comfort in that this was not a betrayal, Deputy.
Well, I suppose I had it coming regardless. I was the one who let myself be lured by that woman. But I couldn't help it, Mr. Slade. I have always been easily swayed by beautiful women. I can't help it because I am a man.
You were, Dudley.
I am. And now I get to march off to the gates of hell because I know it's hell where I'm going.
I do not believe that to be the case.
Of course I'm going to hell, Mr. Slade. I was a bad, bad man, Mr. Slade. I got into all kinds of trouble, did all kinds of bad things, and now I have to pay the price. I have been judged by St. Peter. I've been judged for my evil. And now I shall burn for eternity.
Slade will kind of sigh a little bit and look at the man, doing whatever he can to let whatever guise he has here drop a little bit. And he will just say, "No burning, deputy. Just rest."
And he nods and says, he looks at you and he says, I don't know who you are or what you are, but I know that you're here for El Paso. You think you're here to save it, but you're not. You're here to take everyone with you, to lead them through the scrub. I hope you will make this town's passage as comforting as you have made mine, Mr. Slade.
I will do what I can.
How do you feel about Dudley insinuating that you're here to, like, guide the town of El Paso to the realm of death?
Not as surprised as he might wish to be, and I think it may just go a little push the confirmation of that fear a little closer to the front of his mind.
Take a condition called the Reaper. And let's check in on the clues that we have so far. On a complexity 4, you currently have 4 clues.
I still need one for my roll of 8.
So you're going to have 5, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's check in and do that, and then we'll kind of see where we're at. So you were basically asking Earl about anything else he saw.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he says, well, it was a funny thing, actually. This is a pretty rough place, as you can see. Something about this place just gets people riled up, makes them want to do bad stuff. It has absolutely nothing to do with that last batch of Skin Ripper hooch. Skin Ripper. That's my other product line. It is because, well, we're cursed, I suppose. Like the whole town. It's the Wounded Knight. Makes people act funny, act violent, act strange. Here, it makes people want to kill people. But, well, when this Grease Lightning fella came in, everyone in the bar was asleep. 3 people at the bar had put their heads down, gone to sleep. People at the tables passed out. I thought, my goodness, I need to figure out how to market my moonshine as some sort of sedative. But ultimately, I was just happy to have a moment of peace. And that's when he came in, talking loudly about Grease Lightning, as if anybody was awake to hear him. It was just me. But then I wonder if I was even awake. Mr. McCready. It was like, I don't know. Like, I just woke up. And it wasn't there anymore. when it was business as usual. I don't know. I think I probably need to just recalibrate my formula a little bit because I'm talking crazy.
So they fell asleep before this greased lightning came in. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and I think I was asleep too. Maybe I dreamed it. I don't know.
Huh. Did you feel like you were leaning on the bar, or that you just kind of took a whiff of your own stuff before you dreamt this fella?
Couldn't say. Couldn't say.
But was it really Travis then? I mean, if it was a dream, I mean, maybe you were projecting
Yeah,
because
but
the skin ripper stuff, affected you. Maybe you should bring it down to skin tears.
who killed Dudley Wainwright? That's what I keep asking myself. Everyone says it's this greased lightning that did it. Old Jane Taylor, she confirmed what I saw. She wants to get a posse together.
Now that's just right. Getting a little bit of the cart before the horse. Can't hang a man.
Or the mule before the wagon, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, my mistress doesn't like me to, take the mules in vain, But yeah.
Donkey Puncher. That's a good name.
I wouldn't use that name around Miss Pickett if I were you, all right? That might come across a mite jarring, and you might find yourself on the end of that punch, but just a warning. It's all right.
I think we'll cut the scene there. You now have 5 clues. Is this enough to come up with a theory? Or do you want to keep investigating? Or remember, you're coming up with just a plan to catch grease lightning.
I think we can come up with a plan. We're pretty clever and good at elaborate plans.
Sounds good. Why don't we take a 10-minute break so you can think about it, and then we'll come back and do the dusk phase.
Sure.
All right. It is the dusk phase. Let's take a look here. Let's talk about the Wounded Knight with our brand new character keeper with the Wounded Knight stuff on it. Are these just the complete ones, or are there like empty ones as well, Ben?
It is up to date with the ones that we've done.
Oh, with ones we've done. Okay, but they're not like the list of them is nowhere in here.
They're in there.
Uh,
It's the Wounded Knight tab.
yeah, it's in the Wounded Knight tab.
I'm just like, oh, I see. Oh, I see. Oh, I'm okay. Sorry, my brain shut off for a minute. Let's go with the extra harvest of the Wounded Knight. This is on line 59 of the character keeper. People do not always reap what they sow during the season of the Wounded Knight. During the harvest, what strange extra does a homesteader pull from the ground? What do they do with what they found?
I think a homesteader, like further out in the countryside, whatever, basically pulls out what looks like a root vegetable, but the root vegetable comes in the shape of a crude noose. And when they pull it out, they essentially bring it to their barn and then hammer it into the lintel of their barn with an iron nail as a sign to kind of ward off any more like evil eye or for luck.
I was also going to go with a root vegetable based one where one of the homesteaders digs up a carrot, but it's actually shaped like a human. It has limbs, 2 arms and 2 legs, and what they do with it is take it into their house and give it to their wife who's grieving a lost child, and she holds it tight and sleeps holding this deformed carrot.
Carrot baby.
Another homesteader is out picking berries off of the raspberry bush. I don't know what kind of berries grow in El Paso. Some kind of berry bush that they've been cultivating, and they pick some, nice, plump, fresh, ripe berries. But as they're picking, they realize that some of them aren't berries. They're small eggs, small red eggs growing on this plant. And I think they bring them in to their barn, and of course they have a whole incubation thing set up for their chickens, putting the eggs in the little nests with warm lanterns to see what's going to hatch.
Out near the edge of El Paso, a turnip farmer is pulling up one of the turnips, and the roots have gotten far too long. And as he pulls and continues to pull, he sees a little bit of disturbance in the dirt over the fence into the graveyard next door. And out comes a desiccated human arm with jewelry still intact. And the farmer looks at the arm, looks at the jewelry, and starts pulling up more turnips.
Note to self, never order vegetable stew in El Paso. All right. And maybe nothing with berries either. Good. Let's keep going. So you have to come up with a plan to trap or otherwise, or you have to, or actually it specifically says, let's read the specific question. The question specifically you have to answer is, it's kind of an either or. What is Grease Lightning's weakness, or how can they otherwise be stopped? So it's kind of just generally, how can you stop them? Thoughts?
Well, I do like the idea that it is actually Travis, like physically Travis doing this, that he is Grease Lightning. We kind of talked a little bit in our break about Travis having been a sleeper agent.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Rob, you made it.
The idea being effectively that the Doctor is some kind of agent of the Lady in Gold and has been mesmerizing various people involved in this. But the key thing is that Travis was mesmerized long, long ago, has been all along, and this capability to bring out this alter ego was embedded within him all along, but now the Lady in Gold has chosen to activate it.
Very intriguing. So I'm curious, like, why would Dr. Albers, does he know his involvement, or is he like, does he know and he doesn't want to say it out loud because he's scared of the Lady in Gold, so he's giving you a hint by giving you the book? Or I'm wondering like how that plays out.
What if he works for the Lady in Gold? They have some sort of agreement, and that's why he doesn't need the money from the Reynoldses to buy up his property.
Oh, that's
because
interesting.
we know that Isabella's got the money.
Yeah.
And Isabella knows that he is a agent of the Lady in Gold, which is why she gave him that book. It's a, haha, I already know you know about this. I'm on to you kind of thing.
That's interesting. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, keeping up with this theory of the case.
And the Reynoldses are not paying off the doctor for his land because they do not want to step on the Lady in Gold's territory.
Oh, like they're not being as aggressive as they could be because
Right,
they
exactly,
don't.
yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
They know
Yeah.
that he is her agent, and
Oh, interesting.
they do not want to mess with, cause a potential enmity to come up between them.
Hmm.
And the doctor wants the money. That's why he's trying to help the Vigilance Committee get rid of the Lady in Gold.
Yeah.
That's why he's given the book.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I like that. Okay, good. Okay, so this is pretty good. Let's take a look at the clues that we have so far, if we've accounted for them. All right. So the Book of Mesmerism is pretty clearly explained. I think that's the only one.
I think
what?
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think Travis's weird behavior around water and his shock touching the Bible, that is because this sort
because
of
it is really
infernal
neat.
thing inside of him has been activated. And
Oh,
that's why
okay.
it's never
Oh,
happened
gotcha. Oh, so it's the
before.
power of the Lady in Gold. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
What about the sleeping, possibly dreaming salty spittooners and the birds flying backwards? And importantly, how is it a weakness? Or how can it be harnessed to stop grease lightning?
If the birds flying backwards was actually from the fumes, perhaps we could use the fumes to incapacitate grease lightning.
I mean, I'm curious about the dream connection. I mean, because like the scene of birds flying backwards and landing backwards, that feels very dreamlike to me, right? That feels like a dreamlike thing, and that feels, and the suggestion from Earl that like he was dreaming and that the people in the salty spittoon were sleeping, that all feels connected to me. I don't know, but I don't know what dreams have to do with that.
What if we can't actually, because of the power of the Lady in Gold, we wouldn't be able to pull out grease lightning from Travis in any way? We have to go into Travis's psyche in like a hypnotism kind of way
Oh, that's kind of fun. I like
to
that.
deal with it.
Yeah.
What if this is all a little Freddy Krueger-y and it's all happening in dreams and it just echoes into real life because of Lady Gold's magic?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, is this like are we doing a Dream Warriors thing here? Are we doing like or like a Society of Dreamers thing? Like we're gonna go into Travis and extract the evil or whatever. That's very intriguing. Okay, it's interesting. I like this as a general approach. Mads, do you have any other thoughts?
I mean, I like the idea that it's like, it's tied into sleeping and dreamers, because I mean, again, it's like, with Travis having had problems with sleepwalking before, this seems like a persona that's been a sleeper agent, underneath all along.
A literal
now
sleeper agent, yeah.
Right. And now it's awoken. And so I feel like the Bible and the water is the key to being able to shock grease lightning out of Travis. Somehow we have to kind of separate the two. If that has to be in like a dreaming state, brought
Maybe
on
there's a
by
body of water in the dream that grease
Yeah.
lightning is like weak to or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and water is naturally like a magical grounding thing anyway. So
Right.
and
Yeah.
like lightning grounding thing. So I mean, it wouldn't be surprising to use it somehow, even if it's real or dreamt.
Yeah.
So
Oh, it's like a water and oil thing. Grease, oil, water. Yeah.
Well, I think if we all like the basic like dream diving approach, I think you should go ahead and roll with +1 and see how it goes.
Who's feeling lucky? Actually, you know what? I think Travis should do this. This is your psyche.
Yeah, Travis, go for it.
Oh boy,
Plus
so
one.
I'm rolling just with +1.
Plus one.
Okay. Right, I've got a bunch of junk in my dice tray. What's that? Okay, let's see. That's an 8.
An 8.
No, a 9. I'm sorry.
A 9. It'll be a fight,
can't math.
but you are correct. Let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit more, like, by way of figuring out what the characters are doing. Let's talk a little bit more about like what you intend to actually do in the dream. Like, once you go inside Travis's dream, first of all, what's the process for that? How are you even going to do it? And then once you're all able to go into Travis's dream, what do you intend to do to grease lightning there? What is the actual plan?
I think we're gonna need some skin ripper or whatever
Yeah.
the
I think we're gonna need a
concoction is.
combination of skin ripper and
Tannery
hypnotism.
fumes and moonshine.
There you go.
That's interesting. Well, it also kind of makes me wonder if, like, the reason why Jane Taylor and Earl Cunningham were even able to see grease lightning in the first place is because of their exposure, their chemical exposures. Like, it makes me kind of wonder if that's part of it.
I mean, imagine we have to be somewhere, like whomever's doing this has to be like behind the tannery or near the salty spittoon or somewhere between the two. So this way we have access to the chemicals or the fumes to be able to do this. And
I mean, I think if you just want to go get some, we can just say that you could get some. I don't think it's that too
Yeah,
much trouble.
okay.
Okay, so you're
Right.
going to do a chemical dream die, and you're going to use very, very dangerous chemicals used in dangerous combination to somehow extend your consciousness into the world of dreams, specifically Travis's dreams. Okay, good. And then once you're in Travis's dreams, how are you going to catch grease lightning or stop him? Now we have to kind of think more expansively.
I still think there's some sort of hypnotism thing here. I just really want Slade to hypnotize somebody or Pamela to hypnotize somebody. I just think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Clearly there was that shock that Travis got from the Bible, so I can, quote Bible passages or some such to help. And then we push him into the river. I don't know.
Or Slade could try and escort Grease Lightning to the beyond.
Down the river Styx, maybe.
That's interesting. The Rio Grande as the river Styx. It's an interesting idea. Maybe that's interesting. Maybe that explains Grease Lightning's apprehension about water. I think that would be fun.
Or the river Lethe, help like just exercise.
Forgetfulness.
Yes,
yeah,
hadn't forgotten.
Yeah, that's good. I like it. So you go into the dream. You use the Bible verses to use the Bible to track down Grease Lightning. Then you lure or you escort Grease Lightning down to the river. How do you actually, like, I think there has to be like a moment of like actually confronting Grease Lightning in terms of like violence. Like, is that what Travis is going to do? Or
I think that's got to be my role, right?
Yeah, the shootout or whatever, right? Yeah, good. Okay, we'll see how it goes. I think we've got a good some ideas here. Okay, great. So let's keep going with the phase here. I don't think we have any Janus masks that need to be resolved at this time. And so let's go ahead and pick an unseen for tonight. We did the Texas Ranger. Have we not done the tumbleweed yet?
Doesn't ring a bell.
Oh, let's do the tumbleweed.
I thought we did. Maybe I did that in a different thing.
I think it was maybe another game we played together, Amanda.
Yeah.
It might have been the +1 EXP game. Yeah. Well, I
Oh,
love the
yeah, I think it
I love the
was.
tumbleweeds. Let's do that. That's line 117. Drying and dying all day long in the hot Texas sun means this tumbleweed is ready to hit the dusty trail. This weed begins as a titan among its peers, nearly 6 feet tall. Rob, you have the first prompt. Mads, you have the second prompt. Ben, you have the third prompt. And Amanda, you have the fourth. Let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and do the night phase. Tumbling down the way. Rob, just as the sun goes down, a stiff wind blows, causing the tumbleweed to break free from the roots that anchor it. What beautiful landscape does the weed first encounter on its long nighttime journey?
I think it rolls past a mesa just as the sun setting is setting behind it. And just the land is kind of bathed with this beautiful red light, and the tumbleweed goes rolling across, and there are some longhorn cattle and that are peacefully grazing, and it tumbles on down toward a creek with a little stream, because it's the time of year where there is some water in that stream. And the light is just flickering over the gently running water as the tumbleweed goes past.
The procedure works. Travis is hypnotized. The rest of you are in a small room inhaling terrible fumes and drinking Skin Ripper. And whether it's actually working or not is almost like beside the point. I think whoever's in charge here, whether it be the lady in gold or someone else, they want you here. So do whatever little hand waving and ritualizing you need to do. You are stepping into the realm of the dreams, into Travis's dreams, someone's dreams. And you're not together when you arrive. Slade, you find yourself in a place you've been many, many times over the course of your existence, though it has been a while. A misty gray place, a silvery void place. You're walking on a surface of a large black pillar, flecked with gold. There are pillars like this all around in the distance, rising up through the shadowy void. And you see one of your cousins sitting on a gold throne up a set of black marble stairs. Your cousin goes by many names, but the Greeks call him Morpheus. And he is there wearing a very flowing white gown and a very elaborate gold headdress with little tendrils of gold that just go off in all sorts of different directions and have no apparent end point. And they cover his eyes, just leaving the mouth exposed with this array of gold, like a sun. He steps down the stairs and he says, "Cousin, It has been so long since you have come to visit me. Why are you here now? I don't wish to delay you, and yet I feel the urge to ask the question.
I come to help a friend.
What friends can death possibly have? Who willingly opens their arms in love, platonic or otherwise, to one such as you?
Mortals.
Ah, mortals. Would that be the two mortals you brought with you?
Them and one other.
Oh, yes, the other. The other has all sorts of things planned for you. Come. Give me a hug.
I think in this place, Slade looks both like the man and also like a dark kind of shape hovering over it. And the man won't move, but the shape will stretch forward toward his cousin.
Sister Mary Erstwhile, you are walking in the shadowy streets of London. The noise, the filth, the hansom cabs that nearly run you over, the street urchins making very little effort to hide the fact they're trying to pick your pocket. And yet something is strange about the people of London as they pass you by and look at you. What's funny about them?
They all look exactly like people in El Paso. They are dressed like Londoners. They're in London, but their face and bodies are the people of El Paso.
You turn around a corner into an alley, and at the end of the alley, silhouetted by the light of the gas lamps, you see Grease Lightning, dressed all in black, the cowboy hat, gun on his hip. You can't make out the details, but Grease Lightning raises his head and howls at the moon. Travis, you are walking in a strange landscape with a strange landscape, hand in hand with the lady in gold. Tell me about this landscape you find yourself watching or walking around in, and how do you know that the landscape is your mind?
I think that the thing that's unusual about it is it looks like a desert plain, a scrubby plain in the west, but the sky looks like water. It looks like an ocean above us.
The lady in gold turns to you, radiant, beautiful, eyes shimmering. And she looks at you and she says, back to the tumbleweed. Mads, a few hours later, across the landscape. I haven't forgotten about Pamela. Half the weed is fed to a campfire by a lone rider, What urgent matter distracts the rider just before the rest of the weed is given to the flame?
In the firelight, the rider is feeding some of this tumbleweed into it. But then beyond the flame, the rider sees what looks like the silhouette of someone all in black. But then this person will look up, can't still see any of the features, and then makes a sound as if howling into the distance. And the rider gets up to look beyond the fire and see if that person was truly there. And they just see the horizon, and then the figure is not there at all.
Pamela Pickett. Back east. You are back east. And you are sitting at a table with Mr. Perdition. He smiles. The sun tattoo on his face. It looks as if the sun is grinning. And he says, I am not who you think I am, Ms. Pickett. This is a dream. This is someone else's dream. I am Grease Lightning. And you only get one hand to prove to me I should let you leave this place alive. And he begins dealing cards. No cheating now.
Would I do that?
Yes, I think you would. And everything in the place that you're in, some sort of saloon or bar back east, begins to fade away until it's just you and this entity sitting at the table, a shaft of golden light all around you like a spotlight. And he says, what's the game?
$21.
Quick and easy,
Mm-hmm.
And he begins dealing the cards. And he lays out a 6 of spades. And he says, sorry. And on his side, he has a queen. And he flips his other card. He looks, or he's his face down card. He looks and he's like, what do you say?
What's life or death without a little risk? Hit me.
Meanwhile, the lady in gold, apparently there's a possibility you didn't hear what she said last time from the audio. I'll say it
I didn't
again.
catch it.
She looks at you and she says, I am myth. I am the embodiment of legend. I made a promise to you, Travis Walker. I would make you the Sidewinder Kid. I would make you a legend. I would spread your name to the four corners of the West, fast as lightning. And yet you chose to stay in El Paso, consorting with ghosts and fools. What an interesting decision.
Maybe once I got a taste of what being a legend involves, I figured out it wasn't such a great deal after all.
And now you're here. You've invited my cousin and two very, very disagreeable women to this place. And I'm afraid they're all going to have to die. Well, two of them at least. The other is intransigent.
Well, I guess I'm just have to see if I can stop you from making that happen.
Maybe, maybe not. Poor Sister Mary. She's about to end up with her guts spilt on the cobblestones of old London town, I'm afraid. Indeed, Sister Mary, Grease Lightning is loping towards you rapidly in the alley, seeming to get bigger and more feral and more monstrous. His black duster flapping behind him, the cowboy hat barely staying on his large lupine head. What do you do?
Oh man. I think I am going to I mean, this is a dream. I have the officer's revolver from the war from my personal quarters with me in this dream. And I know that it has silver bullets. Whether or not that'll actually affect a dream creature like this, hard to say. But it does give me some resolve holding on to it, knowing that I could possibly use this as I start to recite the exact passage that has those birds flying backwards from the Bible that I'm not going to recite in real life because it doesn't exist, that passage. And I don't know any passages off the top of my head.
In the world of Ghosts of El Paso, there is such a passage in the Bible.
That's true.
Good. We'll come back to that. Slade, Morpheus releases you from the embrace and then turns and points, and mere steps away, you see Sister Mary being accosted by this wolf creature. And Morpheus says, "Care to intervene?"
I must.
She's a rather silly woman, don't you think?
Yes. But she is my friend.
Oh, there's that word again. Friend. You used to have such a cool detachment to these people, cousin.
I did.
An almost icy sense of duty.
I occasionally miss it.
Pamela Pickett. 7 of Hearts. The dealer says, he looks at his card, his face down card again. He's like, I don't know. It's not looking great. do you say? Do one another? Now, if you can figure out a way to cheat, I'll let you have a die roll. Otherwise, this is pure random dream randomness.
I want to say that she can have her hands up in her sleeves, physical sleeves. And if he does give her another card, I think she's able to do the little switcheroo.
Very good. I like it.
Tuscaloosa toolbox.
Oh, yeah. Let's go back to our tumbleweed. Ben, the remainder of the weed becomes snagged in a bit of errant barbed wire for several hours before a fleeing animal rocks it loose. What terrible fate is the animal fleeing from?
There is a young fawn that has gotten itself tangled in the barbed wire, and it is through its struggles and kicks that it accidentally frees the tumbleweed. And as the tumbleweed rushes past, we see a mountain lion stalking forward.
Good. Sister Mary, I would like a vitality roll, night move. It's going to be at disadvantage because that's the rule when you're facing grease lightning, but if you can balance it out with something else, you can certainly do that.
Well, if I have my imaginary dream gun, I do have the
Okay.
in my personal quarters that gun.
You can mark that then to make it a flat roll, flat vitality roll. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I am afraid that I'm going to get my throat torn out and I'm going to be somehow stuck in Travis's psyche for the rest of his life.
It's worse than that. You get your throat torn out in the real world as well. Let's go ahead and roll with vitality.
Vitality. That's a 9.
A 9. Morpheus looks at you, Slade, and says, "This may turn out okay after all."
You know, some of these mortals have decided we are brothers.
We, as in...
You and I.
I'm far too imaginative to come from the same stock as you. Death.
If there is anything resembling that bond between us, I ask for your help, humbly.
Oh. Interesting. Very interesting. I suppose you want to produce the monstrosity and put it 20 paces away from Mr. Walker.
That would suffice.
Make the night move to see if you can convince Morpheus of this. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
Morpheus is actually going to, for his own amusement, make everything much worse.
Okay, very good. And it is indeed worse than that. I think he continues to haunt every character in their dreams.
What am I rolling with?
I think it's presence, actually. Yeah. Regular dice, though, because you're not dealing directly with grease lightning here.
That's 7.
7. He says, "I'll help you on one condition."
And that would be?
You let me you let me enter the world during the next wounded night. Let me hold sway under that baleful red moonlight.
This is acceptable.
And he smiles, says, ghosts are very, very dull indeed. I shall make the next wounded night a happening that these poor, dirt-caked people will never forget.
I've no doubt.
Pamela Pickett, night move. Tuscaloosa Toolbox cancels out the disadvantage. It's going to be with composure. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
Oh, it's going to be like getting my brains blown out by damnation, I'm sure, because he's discovered that I'm cheating.
Indeed. Go ahead and roll. Oh, I have to say it's worse.
Mm.
Oh, how can it be worse? Well, I think it's just, yeah, it also affects the real world. So, yeah.
Ooh, that would be a 10.
Go ahead and describe defeating Grease Lightning.
Yeah, so she's got like the longish sleeves, kind of flowing and whatever, and she's got that card ready. And then as he hands it to her, slips it to her, she's going to do a little sing-song to distract. There was a little girl who had a little curl right in the middle of her forehead. When she was good, she was very, very good indeed. But when she was bad, she was horrid. And she flips the 3 cards to show the I can count, I really can.
I think it would be a
9, no,
an 8.
8.
Yeah. And he just smiles and says, very good, very good. I'm being called away. Thank you for the hand, Miss Pickett.
It was a pleasure.
Sister Mary, by the end of this, you're going to end up with a terrible scar on your face in the shape of an upside down cross. But do describe how you defeat the wolf Grease Lightning.
I believe that while I am reciting this Bible passage about the birds landing backwards, it's like everything slows down in slow motion, and this creature is bounding towards me slower and slower until it starts to rewind and move backwards, until it's moved its way all the way back through the streets of London and into the River Thames. Not to be seen, but I think, yeah, I think somehow, because this is a dream world, things don't always make sense. I have a burning sensation on my face, like a hot poker, or, an infected animal scratch. And that's where the scar will come from.
The lady in gold whispers to you, it's very nearly time to see what your myth will be. Amanda the tumbleweed, just as the sky begins to show first light, The last bit of the weed falls down a gully into a muddy patch of water where it begins the long process of degrading enough to drop its seeds. What will happen before the sun comes up to prevent this weed from leaving seeds here in the muddy ground?
This gully that the tumbleweed has fallen into is next to the river, and it is a frequent mating spot for gunslingers when they are meeting for a duel. This poor tumbleweed, as it gets ready to release its seeds into the world and, continue the circle of tumbleweed life, a thick-heeled boot slams down on it and breaks it apart, all the little rest of the pieces. The seeds are picked up by the wind and tossed into the river as the gunfighters start their duel 20 paces apart.
And so it goes. Sidewinder Kid. You are face to face with Grease Lightning. He's standing there. Well, first he arrives on a bolt of lightning that strikes the ground. And when the air clears, when the dust settles, when the smoke blows away, you see him standing there. He certainly looks like you, but dressed all in black and smiling with a smile that stretches past the corners of his face.
That's quite an entrance. Is that supposed to intimidate me?
He speaks. But when he speaks, his words come out of the lady in gold's mouth. I am here to test your legend. I am here to see what they will write about you when this is all over. Maybe you will go on to be a name that lives, first in memory and then in history. Or maybe you will be forgotten, like so much. Blasted bit of earth.
Them as matter to me will remember me. The kind of memories you're talking about is the stories of fools in bars.
He says through her, then draw. It's the night move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
Despite his bravado, I think there is a part of Travis that thinks he'll just die forgotten.
It's worse than that. You'll be forgotten immediately, even in El Paso. Everyone will remember Wyatt. No one will remember you. It's with vitality. It's a disadvantage.
I'm just looking at my personal quarters, seeing if I can level out that disadvantage.
Could I use my custom move to give Travis some advantage?
Read it to us.
So once per night phase, if a friend or ally is in mortal danger or dying, I can appear in the scene and attempt to intervene or remain by their side.
Mm-hmm. That is the save Sister Mary move. Keep Sister Mary going until the end of the campaign move. I love it. If Travis is okay with that, or Rob.
Yeah,
really.
I can see Slade appearing to talk to the lady in gold while
The intervention.
Yeah. Does that mean I can try and use a personal quarters item to give me advantage? Yeah.
No, they don't stack like that.
Damn it. Damn it.
I think what Slade is suggesting is a shootout doesn't happen, right?
Mm.
Yeah. Or Slade somehow stops Grease Lightning.
I was thinking of buying Travis some time by taking the first bullet.
Oh, I like that very much. Actually, that's pretty good. So do you show up with Morpheus or do you show up alone?
I think Slade intends on going alone, but I like the idea of Morpheus coming to watch.
I think Morpheus is there and he's over your shoulder, Slade, and he says, looking at Grease Lightning, and he says, "It is nothing. It is a dream creature. I can snuff it with the snap of my fingers."
Then do so.
He does. I can't snap. Snap. There's no shootout. You all wake up. Grease Lightning is gone. The night phase is over. We're a little on time. Do you all have time to do the dawn phase, or? Okay. Let's go to the dawn phase then. I think there's something I have to do on this incursion too. Or not incursion, what the fuck am I saying? This threat. Oh no, there's not. You it's only if you don't do it in a certain amount of time. Dawn phase. Rewards. I'll click those here for you. I'll read them out for people who are watching the video. If the kid survived the threat, and you did, Travis, you get the move Grease Lightning, which reads like this. New move, Grease Lightning. You have a silver pistol that crackles with lightning. And indeed, when you all wake up, you see this pistol in Travis's hand. Add Grease Lightning to your personal quarters. It can be marked as normal, or if you are in a situation where fast shooting or a sudden lightning storm would be helpful, either one of the two, you can mark it to get an automatic 12+ on an associated roll. If you do so, a bolt of blue lightning carries you to heaven. Describe it and then retire this character.
Nice.
The other rewards available are a bottle with blue lightning inside it, add to your personal quarters, a gift from the dream realm, a gold bullet, add it to your personal quarters, or a memento. There are 2 mementos.
I would like the gold bullet if nobody minds. I can put it in my little gun.
I wouldn't mind the bottle with the blue lightning inside.
I feel like Slade could I get some sort of memento from Morpheus, Jason?
Yeah, you can always ask the keeper for something. Yes. Morpheus gives you a silver key with the promise that during the next wounded night, you will put that silver key in a door and give it a turn. And so, let's keep going. Dawn questions. You're getting 2 goes at the Dawn questions today.
I got to change my other questions. Who would feel like cheating to do it now?
Everyone answered a question and resolved a threat. Travis, I think you got an echo in the night when you were describing the landscapes.
Yes, that was
Sister
mine too.
Mary, did you get one?
Talking about the river being the thing that takes the
Right. Yep.
seeds. There's no life after
Slade,
the
did you
river.
get one?
I was going for with the fawn being stalked like Sister Mary was.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like it. I didn't pick up on that, but it's in hindsight, it's really good. Pamela?
And then seeing the figure all in black, howling in the distance.
Oh, say that I got that part. What was the echo?
It's the figure in the distance all in black,
Oh,
howling
yeah.
in the distance.
Yeah. Bravo. Let's see what else do we got here. Other questions? You didn't really have tons of time to work on Dawn questions, but Travis, did you stick up for the little guy?
I didn't change these Dawn questions, and it would feel like cheating to do it now. So I don't think I did. No.
I don't think you tested your reputation either. Sister Mary, did you try to convince someone to do the right thing?
Not really.
Did you speak on matters of theology?
I did, but I don't think it really.
I don't think it hit in the same
Yeah.
way. No, not the way
Yeah.
it's the spirit of it. I don't think. Slade, did you express a clear preference for the night over the day?
I did not.
Did you respectfully help a dying mortal cross over to the spirit world? I would say your conversation with Dudley counts, because you assured him he's not going to hell.
I was unsure because he was technically already dead.
I know. Yeah, I know. It's whatever. It's fine. It's kind of. I think it's fine. Pamela, did you help the downtrodden to make yourself feel better?
I don't think I had the chance.
No. Did
No.
you blame someone else for your mistake or crime?
No, don't think I had a chance. Nope.
Very good. And let's keep going. Do we have any Janus masks? I don't think so. That concludes the session. Let's do stars and wishes for a few minutes, and then we'll call it a day. Who wants to go first?
I can go. This was a really punchy kind of session. I know we started with the night phase, and that's probably one of the reasons why. But it felt like it moved really fast, and there was a lot happening. I really liked the elaborate trap. I really, really like that Travis was actually the person doing this stuff, the sort of sleeper agent idea. It's just fun. It's really cool, and it really pulled together in a really interesting way. I love Jane Taylor. She's great. I want to be friends with her. The donkey puncher bit, literally, I was laughing about that for a couple of minutes. I could not stop laughing. I love all the grease lightning jokes in chat. Yeah, this was a lot of fun to play. I think everybody was really on point with their characters and their stories and keeping the momentum going. And yeah, it was just really great. And my wish is to see what the hell's gonna happen and if we're gonna survive and if we'll save El Paso. I think we're probably not gonna.
Yeah, I enjoyed the quick run through of this particular thread. It was an interesting change of pace, because I think we've really dragged our feet on some of the previous ones. It feels like. I thought that was a particularly satisfying theory that we came up with. I like that it was actually me, was actually Travis, and I'm really liked the meeting of Slade and Morpheus, and then there's then the presence of Morpheus, Slade, and the Lady in Gold, whatever she exactly represents, Fame maybe or something, as these three kind of Sandman-esque endless figures standing together. And then I have a tiny wish that I kind of would have liked to shoot that grease lightning guy, but it was not an unsatisfying conclusion to the threat, so it's all good.
I really enjoyed I don't know, it's like I guess the again, the introduction of the dreamlike aspects of this, and it's just being kind of mythical and mystical and all that kind of stuff like injected in this. I mean, it's still made for a very punchy game. I mean, we started with a cliffhanger, we ended with Dawn Phase, and it went right into this side mystery or whatever you want to call it, and then just like, bang, 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 went right through it. Without all the bangs. And just, I mean, it was just amazing. It was a story that like I loved watching. Like, even when my character wasn't on. I mean, like, it was just, just really enjoyable to watch. And then just see how we handle it. And then of course, like the able handling back and forth of the unseen, through all of it. I mean, it was just again a really exciting session today. So I like stars for that, definite for sure. And then wishes, like, well, just wish to see what'll happen when I guess we're going to be engaging in the mastermind threat next
Yep.
time. So,
Yep, the Reynoldses are next week. Yeah.
okay. So, yes, let's survive.
They've been off screen for a long time, so it's kind of interesting how they're going to come roaring back, because they've been off screen for a few sessions now. Basically, after the siege of El Paso, right? They kind of receded. We saw a little bit of their like plan on the back end, whatever they're doing, but that's actually my wish. I'm going to start with that. I want to know how the mine connects to it. I want to know what Mr. Perdition and Pamela are up to now with the deed and the mine and all that stuff, and the entity in the mine. Does it actually connect to the Reynoldses? I want to see how all that plays out. I have some ideas because I'm going to be running the mastermind threat, but like I'm curious how Pamela figures into it still. So I think that'll be fun to kind of figure out as we go, maybe beforehand. I don't know, but in any case, I'm looking forward to that. Stars though. I really love this session. This threat, as it's written, and I know because I basically wrote it. I changed this one a lot in the development process from what it originally was. I intentionally wrote this threat to have a very, it almost feels a little like heightened and silly in some ways, right? Like the behavior of like the salty spittoon, just the name, the salty spittoon, it's kind of silly, right? Like the just some of the characters, some of the just the tone just has this like the tone has this like lightness to it, and this like almost like camp old west, wild west like kind of feel. And I think a lot of that came out in this a lot, because and it connects up to like just the basic idea of the kid being this kind of figure, right? And so like that filthy rival is meant to kind of be that, but then it has this dark aspect to it, right? Like the kid could be a murderer. If this drops in the middle of a bunch of other threats and you don't get it done in time because you're focusing on other threats, it's really bad. Like the ending is super dark. If you the failure is really, really dark. And so I just love the way that this particular threat plays with tone. It was an intentional choice on my part when I was writing it, and I think it came out in play in a nice way, like this kind of interesting tones. But then there's like the fun part is like the stuff you don't foresee. I had no idea that this could be like a dream incursion, right? Like that was not something that I ever foresaw. It's not something I thought was a possibility, but I love that it's a possibility, and I think the way it played out was really, really great. I like to do, I don't love dream worlds in role-playing games, but I like to do these like little contained dream moments. That's always fun. It's kind of similar to doing the Fragrant Void in a way, kind of stuff. Like I like all that. I had fun with the Morpheus character and with the nods to the American playbook in the between, and the card game was actually really fun too. I didn't. There was an interesting tension going on there with blackjack, so I liked all that. It was good fun, and I did feel a little like oh, should I like not end this here? But I kind of like I was kind of trying to show that like Morpheus has the power just to be like, no, this is over now, and because in many ways there's this sense of like El Paso being this like playground for gods and for old things, right? And that you all ultimately are just pawns in some game, right? And so I kind of like the idea of it just being like, nope, this is over. And now we're back to the real world. Yeah, so I'm curious about another wish. I'm curious if Travis will ride a bolt of lightning.
It's too tempting to not
Yeah.
go for it, I think, at
Yeah.
some point.
So anyway. Any other stars or wishes?
Yeah, so a kind of retroactive wish. I wish I had, kind of given Travis the opportunity to shoot the telling Morpheus, don't just do it, but just take his gun or something. But I also like that Morpheus was just like, you're in my territory and I'll do what I want. So that was pretty cool. I have in my notes taking the mules' names in vain. So thanks for that. And as was mentioned, Donkey Punch. I really liked all the side characters were great in here. It was a great punchy short threat that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed our the way we handled it and the little scenes of everyone on their own dealing with their own things in different ways. A wish. I feel like Slade doesn't think he's going to be around for the next Wounded Knight, so he's got to use that key. He's got to see what that key does. That has to happen. So there's a wish.
Fabulous. Anything else? Okay, well, thank you all so much. That was great fun. And I look forward to starting the mastermind threat next week. Bye, everyone.